viable work. So their prices are going down. We can borrow money cheaply or more cheaply than we could have in the past few years. Now is the time to invest in our infrastructure and rebuild our physical assets. So I think we ought to look at any bond that we issue in the light of improving some of our physical assets. We have a capital plan. We know what things are going to cost. We just need to figure out what we want to do first. I would think we have a list, Bishop, of some things that are critical from a safety or OSHA perspective.
We have a 5-year schedule.
Right. So we have that's been prioritized. The information's out there. We need to figure out how we're going to put the capital plan together in order to get that taken care of. And if we fold this bridge into that, I think all the better.
So do we have to pay the $76,000 to Mamaroneck now, or what is this?
Oh, sorry, that's how it came up.
First off, the settlement that was reached with Mamaroneck is that we have to pay 50% of the costs of this particular bridge project.
Correct.
Right now, Mamaroneck is asking us for X number of dollars. I think it's $76,000, which is 50% of what they have already laid out and paid, primarily to engineers for the design elements of the project. The answer is yes. What I would like is the ability to perhaps get our own engineer as a consultant, i.e. Oneman Kirby as an outside consultant, to help us to review the costing structure and make sure that the town is picking up bridge replacement costs, etc., that the village of Mamaroneck, perhaps because they want the best possible bridge in their village, may be over-designing and perhaps putting additional costs on based on what their desires are, not necessarily what would be the practical bridge replacement. I don't know what that would cost, but I think the cost would be minimal when you're looking at a $1.7 million, roughly total project.
But we have to pay the $76,000.
Yes, the answer to that question is yes. We don't have to pay it right away.
Yeah, so we have to we're on track. Mr. Burns and his staff, they're going to identify the bond. We're going to also look into whether or not this bond can participate in capital improvements for us, and we're going to have something we can work on next month. Correct? Obviously, you can with some certainty let the Village of Mamaroneck know that the Town of Rye Board is going to approve this expenditure, and as soon as the bond comes in, they'll get their check.
Okay.
Very good.
Excellent. All right. So the Village of Mamaroneck took the lead in terms of doing the design assessment on this?
Okay. Yeah, they've been doing that since 2009. I think the project actually started. Early 2010.
Fine. We should probably coordinate activities like that in the future between the town and the village.
One of the other things that I had noted here that I thought was of important concern to the town was in the report on the Solomon Gedney Cemetery. I don't know if anybody has saw that, but I think there are some conditions there that need to be looked at right away, and I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention, and I will discuss it with Mr. Nowotnik and how to proceed from that point. But there were some walls and some wrought iron fence that I think are in dangerous condition that abut a school and a playground, and we're responsible for that, so I think we have to look into that right away. And the only other major project that's on the table right now is the repair to the wing wall on the South Barry Avenue Bridge transversing Otter Creek, which was cited by the state of New York, and some maintenance that has to be done to that bridge also that was in their May 2011 report.
Yeah, the final height of the concrete, was that approved?
As far as I know, yes. I was talking with Brian Smith at Oneman Kirby, and he said all the design work is just about complete, and he'll have some more information for us at the next meeting. And he he's also going to have the information as far as the height from the bottom of the bridge and the tidal flow.
And there was another question also with regards to the actual height of the sidewalk or the curb with the concrete.
That was over on the Guyon Creek Bridge.
Was that replaced yet? Repaired?
No, that repair's just about ready to go out to bid now because Mamaroneck wanted to extend the project and do some of their sidewalks that were abutting our bridge structure, and they decided against that.
Okay.
So that's moving forward, and the curb is not a problem because they're going to cut it back and then bring it up to the same level. It's not going to be higher.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Can we have maybe, in regards to the cemetery, why can't our staff go down there and clean up the garbage, bottles, cans, and papers? I don't think that should be something that should be left for our outside contractor to do. That's not really in his realm.
I agree with Councilwoman Mendocino. Get our staff on it. Frank, got it?
Got it.
Yeah, Mr. DeLeo had mentioned to me that he wanted to go around to the various properties prior to the meeting, so there are some things that I would imagine that he could do without any problem.
Perfect.
Great, thank you.
So what are we going to do with the retaining wall?
Yes.
Well, let's let him, once we clean it up, see what really needs...
Well, there are some... it's a masonry and stone wall, and atop the wall is a wrought iron fence. And there are parts where the posts where the wrought iron fence is fastened to the wall have fallen away or cracked, and there are actual holes on the inside perimeter of the wall. So if kids jump up on that wall and pull that fence, there are portions that I think could and might actually detach from the wall and come down on them, which I think is a liability to the town of Rye.
When you visit these properties, see if you can reach out to Donald March. He has extensive history, and he has a great handle on those historic areas within the village of Mamaroneck. Get his input. He's going to be able to give you some very good direction of what you can and cannot and should not touch from a historic standpoint.
Okay.
You may actually be in a better position to put some kind of a more contemporary fence to protect the area rather than try to renovate or rehabilitate items that are of historic value. So sit tight on that, protect the area. If you have to put up some kind of a protective fence so no one goes near it, orange, yellow, whatever the color may be, although it may be unsightly, if you feel that it deems that there is an area that may be questionable, protect it first so nobody goes near it, and then give us a report next month.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
No.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks, John.
The report.
Okay. All right, Mr. Markowitz, round two. Let's start with the good news. Why don't you start with the good news on Burger King Corporation?
Okay, let's start with something nice.
Let's start with something nice.
The resolution before the town board is settlement of certiorari proceeding in connection with property owned and operated by Burger King Corporation. They're on 264 Boston Post Road. I guess the good news is, or the bad news is, the agreement spans 2004 to 2011. The good news is from 2007 through 2011 that the Burger King Corporation has agreed to no changes. And in the earlier years, they've agreed to modest changes. Specifically, in 2004, their assessment was $1,438,200. They agreed to $1,003,000. Following year was the same assessment, and they agreed to $1,003,250. The 2006, their assessment was $1,553,500. They agreed to $1,004,000. And subsequent to that, in 2007, their assessment of $1,553,500.
Now, did we hire an appraiser for this?
No, we did not.
Was there a recommendation?
Well, I'm sorry, we did hire. The board approved engaging an appraiser.
But we never had.
We never actually expended any funds on appraisal services.
Why was that?
Well, because we fought like hell with them.
Thank you very much. And we told them, you take it or leave it, and they'll lose in court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just wanted to get that on the record for Tom Cartone.
Yeah, we all have the skid marks on that.
But I think it's, congratulations. I think it's a wonderful result. I think, again, it demonstrates the bona fides of our town assessment department.
Thank you.
Job well done on this. I'm glad we got this done. Any questions from the board?
How come their assessment went down from 2009 to 2010 and again in 2011?
Because we're following the trend of the marketplace. As we get closer to the current date, values have generally been declining across all classes of property.
But is it income-based?
It's income-based. Incomes have typically been flat since 2007, 2008. Rents, expenses have typically risen. Capitalization rates, as we had a long discussion with one of our appraisers in a conference call, have essentially remained similar throughout all those years for a variety of reasons. So that's why. I mean, it's
I would imagine that the large portion is based upon the income of the property on commercial properties. I wouldn't have expected it to fall that much in that period of time.
We had, in the case of Burger King, actual rental values.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
That's why we didn't really need to hire a new appraiser.
Yeah, the I&E.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we had I&E, we had copies of the leases, copies of the
very
reported income from the owners.
Lease agreement.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. You didn't have the income, though, did you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did that.
We did.
Excellent.
Yeah. So sometimes it benefits having a supervisor who understands finance.
Yeah.
Okay, would you just describe to the board what...
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt a Resolution L with regards to Burger King Corp.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good work, Mr.
Thank you.
Marcus. All right, would you tell what we had the board... Now, you didn't bring the 115 Barry Avenue.
That's the top sheet.
First one.
That's
Oh,
the
it
first
is?
sheet. I made sure I printed that first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, so...
Okay, just to take you through this.
What are these people thinking? I don't understand. So I'm just going to go. I&E submitted. 2004, yes. 2005, yes. 2006, no. 2007, no. 2008, yes. 2009, no. 2010, no. 2011, yes. What? You know, what is it? Pavlov's dog? I mean, you know. This is it makes no rhyme or reason. Why? What are they thinking? Help me understand the logic here.
I'm not sure they're thinking. All they're thinking is make a complaint, and to the extent they can comply with the Board of Assessment Review's request for I&E information, they provided if they have anything. As we'll see if we go through all the attached sheets, sort of what gets provided is sort of random and whatever they can throw at us.
Now, for the years where they did provide, what was the quality of that?
Well, I would
Did we
categorize...
get leases? You said it's a 7-unit apartment?
Yeah.
We did receive leases.
Is it fully occupied?
It's fully occupied. We received leases. We received selected expenses in selected years. Okay.
So let me just leases. There's 7. I mean,
There are 7 apartments. Each one has a lease.
Again, well, I'm just. Well, let me. I mean, it sounds to me.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get a lot of detail on any specific valuation, but I'm hard-pressed to understand what the property owner could be thinking if they've got 7 leases rented out. What kind of... So when he values his property in 2004 and 2005 at these numbers, what kind of implied cap rate does he have on those? It's got to be like...
typically, it's going to be 10, 11%.
No, I understand. No. Understand. So if he's got he must be. How much he's got to be making $100,000? How many? 7 properties? What?
7 apartment units.
So what is the average revenue on that?
Average revenue is probably between $1,500 and $2,000 per month per unit.
Per unit.
Per unit.
So that's over $100,000.
Certainly.
Potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So how could so what cap rate if you had $100,000 net profit? What is a 10%
Well, that
cap
wouldn't be
rate?
all profit. That would be before.
I understand, but your number's going to be $100,000. If
$100,000 capitalized at a 10%, that's $1 million.
Right. And so how? I mean, just help me. I just don't understand what people are thinking. So when you come in at half, I don't need to hire an appraiser to figure out. I don't need to hire an appraiser. I don't need an appraiser. I'll do it for you.
Okay, then you will testify.
Yes. Yeah, I will testify in court.
Fine.
And I will go to the judge and I'm saying, this is ludicrous, Judge. there's $100,000 here, a 10%.
Well-
Let me ask you, just going to take a poll of the public. How many people here in the audience would take a 10% return on their investment? Raise your hand. People on the board? 10% return on investment. People, okay. So therefore, I'm just saying, you know what the risk-free rate is today? 2% over 10 years. No, 10%.
Wait. Let me offer you what I think the owner might say. And I think this goes back to the original argument. We'd write the check today for $379,400, which is what he's valuing his property at in 2011. But he's going to say, okay, I make $100,000 gross.
That's not gross. That wasn't a gross number.
It was a gross.
No.
I pay $35,000 in taxes.
Seven times 2 is 14. 14 times 12 is how much?
I don't know. You tell me how much.
That's what I'm saying. $160,000, $150,000.
Hold on, Mr.
in taxes.
168,000. So he's got 68,000 expenses I've just given him.
So you're saying he spent
Net is
$68,000.
$100,000.
Okay, so he's netting out $100,000.
There's no way he spent 68, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
So I agree with you.
So I'm at $100,000 in net income, a
Right.
10% cap rate, which is high, because the cap rates are 8, 9. So a 10% cap rate, which is already high, that gives us $1 million valuation. He's coming in at 200 and 400.
Right, now we've not seen his appraisal yet, obviously.
No,
But this is one of those situations where we've talked about picking up the phone and saying to the guy, what are you thinking? This is what
We've
the supervisor
had
does with
discussions.
corporate people.
This
Oh,
is
this
a
is just a regular-
small.
No, I know, he's a regular
owner.
guy, small, very small.
I
probably,
think,
you know.
I think, Mr. Markowitz, why don't you, do you want to have a first call with him, or just say, look,
Well, I signed Aldo on this, or Jeff?
Jeff,
All right.
Jeff is on that. I can tell
well,
you.
just somebody,
frankly,
like
Jeff-
one of our team,
To pick up the phone and call the guy.
please call him
yeah.
and say, look, I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Right. This
And
doesn't
our
make any-
goal is not to embarrass anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's put forward is embarrassing.
Or we'll take it off your hands for $379.
Yes, exactly. So ultimately, so just have somebody call him. You got the authorization to hire this person. I don't want him to do one lick of work. I will do the work. And I really need a formal legal opinion, please, Mr.
Yes, we'll go.
As to whether, I don't, unless the judge wants to force taxpayers to pay money, we can do this in-house. There's absolutely no reason, you don't need, this is
It's not a question. It's
you
a
don't
question
need
of
expertise
credibility.
for this.
You
do
do.
not.
You
No,
do.
no,
You do.
no,
You need an objective,
no, you don't.
third-party
The
appraisal.
Burger King,
That's what makes the case.
No. I want, you need to
If
listen
Mitch
to me.
testified, Mitch is the assessor. Of course he's going to defend his own values. It's having the third party come in and say what Mr. Markowitz did is correct is what makes the case stronger.
No, and a no. And then you have to please listen to me.
Okay.
I fully agree on a complicated Doral Arrowwood. No disagreement there. I fully agree on some complicated. Now, Burger King, you have the numbers. The numbers are not in doubt. You have a lease, and they've told you the numbers. So you don't need anybody other than to tell them what the cap rate is. So that's where we have our consultant, and you don't need to hire somebody every time. That was what we agreed last time. Similarly, this is a straightforward, no-brainer evaluation. The guy, quite frankly, has got. I think you're undervaluing this property. So ultimately, the thing is, what we need to do is we need to excruciatingly not spend money of the taxpayers, right? We don't want to take taxpayers' money and spend it willy-nilly. And I think the court will fully understand that we're fully capable of evaluating these kinds of properties. And I think I want to break our system. I got to break the mindset. I apologize for being so adamant. Break the mindset that says we're just going to do this willy-nilly. We've had these conversations before, and I don't want to do it willy-nilly.
The other question is, in terms of comps, is that we're looking at comps on these numbers? Is that what your number is at
I will say to
758?
you that, have we looked at them? Absolutely. We've even gone so far as I've provided them to Jeff, who has in turn provided them to the other side. Okay, by way of, let's not argue about income and expense, but let's look at the historic facts. We have sales of multifamilies that support these kinds of values.
Okay.
Fairly simple.
I'll tell you, you know what, can we organize a 15-minute conference call tomorrow? And you guys, let me You know exactly. You can replay it to me
You know what,
before
we
the
don't
call.
need the conference call.
Right, we all know what
Okay.
you're thinking.
I would somebody get.
Can I play the part of Supervisor Carvin?
Yes, you
No.
I know the script.
You can be Mitchell.
I know the script. No, I'm not going to be Mitchell. I'll be Supervisor
All right,
Carvin.
but this gentleman's lucky.
We'll get Jeff on the phone.
He's lucky
We'll
to get away with these valuations, quite frankly, that you've got him at. And this is the kind of thing, I'd love to go straight to court.
Now, where we go? We review on this.
So now, just the last thing, I just want to, so that's,
These are for informational purposes. These
well,
are the big
now, these
ones.
next properties, we're not going to mention names, but let's just, we have a major property, a $1.5 million property. Again, so they, what information did we get in 2005? Well, we got nothing in 2004?
Nothing. Well, 2004, I don't have a record,
Remember,
so I'm not
our
going to
law
comment.
didn't kick in till 09, by the way. So just
I understand. That's what I'm trying to get. What? Yeah, but
Okay.
we're what? Just to recap.
Okay.
Just to recap. We now have successfully negotiated with Home Depot. We successfully negotiated with Burger King. What else did we Didn't we have one more? We did. We had one more. Anyway,
We had a withdrawal of
Yes.
the Restaurant Depot location. We had a withdrawal from Rexon.
Right. So and the reason is because when we go and say, look, show us the information where we're wrong, they can't. And so what I want our board to see and understand is, how is our, so when did we pass our law? 2008?
8.
Okay, so what happened in 2009?
Well, it was the first year of the law. So
Well,
I don't know if they had to do it in 09. I know we passed it. Maybe it was
Yeah,
late.
you did. No, they had to do it.
No,
They had to
we-
do it.
we-
And then the next question I have is, what's the quality of the information you're getting in 2010, 2011?
Generally incomplete, varied, sometimes what I'll deem to be 80% information, sometimes zero. It really varies. Just to
Well, this
stick
one
on
you
this
said
property in
11
front of the
days.
board for a
Accurate.
second. Just to stick on the property in front of the board for a second. Okay, if you go to 2008, okay, and look at my comments, where an I&E was filed by the tenant and it appeared accurate, but it didn't even include other income the property owner was collecting that we were aware of. Okay, and that's, I don't blame that on the tenant, but that's some of the problems we deal with, and nobody tells us the whole truth.
Well, I think that, all right, so the record here is mixed.
And
Some
most
years,
properties
and then the part of the property is accurate, and they're not giving us income on the other part of the property. Is that correct?
That's correct. And typically, it's a random pattern as to when we actually get information, and it's typically...
All right, let's go to the next sheet. Again, no names, but...
no names. In this
Since
case...
we applied our law, yes, no, yes. Why no? They had 2 bar filings?
That's correct.
What happened there?
What happened there is I believe, a request was made from the Board of Assessment Review to the property owner to asking them who's their representative.
And they don't know?
That's how we ended up dismissing one of them. We provide a copy of the letter to the complainant and say...
Well, I would be embarrassed if I was a lawyer these days. How do these lawyers file? Don't they talk to their client?
Sometimes clients authorize 2 different attorneys.
Sometimes a big corporation will just do this
Sometimes
all over the country, and they just, it's a formality, as you can see. They're
you
coming
can
in
have an
at 10%.
executive in the Midwest authorize it while the local store manager authorizes it.
And what
Nobody
does
talks
this
to one another.
conclusion in I&E mean?
It is simply, if they gave us an I&E, did they actually tell us based upon the I&E they provided what the value is? The answer is no. They give me a set of numbers and they...
Here you have a major U.S. corporation coming at 10% value. Would you get these people on the phone for me, please? I want to talk to these people. Pathmark Stores.
This will be a
So that's
battle.
what's name.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would make a point on the Pathmark store one.
Actually, I thought they gave us information.
They gave us some information, but I would make
Why do you
this...
have no then?
Because they submitted it outside of the Board of Assessment review process, as part of the discussions with them.
Well, look, actually, this is one of the cases where I thought they gave us substantive information.
They did, but outside of the Board
Well,
of
yeah, but
Assessment.
Mitch, geez, let's not be
Well, they gave it to us as part of the discussion about they would like to settle. And we said, no, you're going to give us this information before we do anything.
Okay.
Okay, we took a harsh line, which was, tell us the truth, show us the
Next
truth.
one is all knows.
That is...
All knows.
That's the tennis ball.
Yeah, all knows. Would you have a conversation with them? Somebody's got to, Mr. Note, I think, somebody's got to talk to these people and just say, well, you get a sense of this stuff. We just got to say, hey, listen, you know what? The second to last sheet, are they Town and Rye?
Yeah. Oh, which one? The San Brianchi?
Anderson Hill Road?
Yes.
It's not purchased?
No, it's the town.
The backside.
It is the part it's vacant land that was subdivided into, forget how many units of homes. Corner with King Street.
Well, look, everybody on this list, I'm pretty confident. I think all these are upstanding, good standing citizens, right? And if somebody submits, they should have submitted clearly inside the bar process. But if they give us information, right, then we should sit down and talk with them. The whole thesis, if we've got it wrong, we want to know. So we're not trying to take anybody to the cleaners. We're not trying to take advantage of anybody. The thesis is if we got it wrong, we want to know. And so, yes, they should give it the board assessment review process, but if they've given it to us, then we should look at it and say whether we're right or we're wrong.
And we do.
Okay, so that's one of the... Paul, Town Attorney Nota, could you... I don't want to call these people. I want to have a first call, I think, or a letter that goes to these people and says, listen, you haven't sent us information that's bona fide information. You haven't acted in good faith. You're not acting in good faith when you come in at 10% of value. And, the town of Rye is just no longer going to stand for it. And if you're not going to act in good faith, neither are we. And so ultimately, please, if we got it wrong, show us where we got it wrong. But there's no reason to tie up the court systems and all this if at the end of the day, people are prepared to. And so far, everybody we've spoken to has acted in good faith. Everyone we've just spoken to has acted in good faith. So let's be proactive and, really get this role cleaned up so we don't have any certiorari outstanding.
I would love to.
Okay, well then you're in charge of that. I want you to coordinate with Town Attorney Noto and the lawyers we have here and see if we can. Please, any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Please.
On the last one, I thought that they didn't have to submit I&Es unless it was over 3 families. Isn't it only for commercial property?
That is correct. Okay, the reason that property is there is because it's investor-owned. It is ineligible for a SCAR process. Therefore, it must go to a certiorari process under the law.
Okay. All right, beautiful. Excellent. Okay, Mr. Moore. And do you want to? I think one of the things we did talk about is hiring an advisor, right? And the advisor, maybe help with some of the cap rates, that kind of thing. I think in the past they've had advisors. So
in the past, this town board has approved on a selective, periodic basis engaging what you describe as advisors, what I describe as appraisers to assist us with analyses on particular properties.
Okay, you prefer that? Okay.
It's 6 1/2 dozen of another.
Every time I talk to lawyers, they say, well, we can't do this now, we should have done it already. Right? We need to be proactive. That's every time we've had that conversation. So what I want to be right now is proactive. I don't want to wait till we get the court case, then here it's too late.
Well, can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
as part
please.
of the bar process, we assign attorneys to chase these people to comply with the requirements of the bar. Okay?
Well, that's a very good suggestion. I think, Town Attorney Noto, could you come up with some suggestions how we put teeth into our bar assessment review process
we
requirement?
We went through that already, and we'll hope maybe the cert law that passes, but I don't think it's going to have anything that's going to help us with the I&E law because the Assembly took it out. They don't want any teeth in it, but we did say you'd be dismissed at the BAR if you didn't file, and they are 9 times out of 10.
And there are other things we can do, but we can talk about
Okay.
it.
All right, well, you can make some suggestions, that would be helpful.
I'm meeting with Mitch on Thursdays.
Wonderful. Oh, good. Okay, terrific. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Markowitz.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we going to go back to the one resolution on the appraisers?
Yes. Oh, go back. No. Well, okay. Can I get a motion to approve but not use?
No, just to approve.
Approve the appraiser, but it's unlikely we'll use them. But I think it's given the fact that we won't meet again for another month, and if we need them for the court case, can I get a motion to approve the Lane? Is it Lane or Britt?
Lane
Yes,
appraiser.
Lane appraiser.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Markowitz. But again, don't spend a penny until you've cleared it with me.
As you identified, we have a month before the next meeting. I can't wait that long in the event that
No, I
we
understand.
have to go
Yeah,
forward.
I understand. And Mr.
No, wait, no. Bottom line is that you're not going forward unless the supervisor says to go forward.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And Mr. Nutter, you're gonna
But it still requires
just give me a legal opinion on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to Alto.
Okay, contract for services. Mr. Nowotnik, you want to come up and
Well,
present?
basically, I can do it.
Oh, you can do it. Oh, great.
Well, we have
Fantastic.
3 contracts.
Yeah, perfect.
We have
Yeah, great.
3 independent contractors. David Thomas, who, as you know, works in the front office. He does Parks and Recreation, clerical work, website management, and other projects as directed by the town supervisor. His contract will start March 1st, run through December 31st, and then he'll get an evaluation every 3 months. This is, again, the standard contract that we've used in the past. He's going to put in at least 25 hours per week, and he's paid at a rate of $35 per hour.
I thought it was 25.
And that's 30.
Yes, true.
It's 25 on the bi-monthly, and then he's 35 for 35 for special projects.
Like, what would be a special project?
Internet, website, that kind of thing. Is standard rate is 25, and then if he does something more technical.
Okay.
The second contract is for Gregory Arcaro.
Hold on, sir. Did you have any questions?
Yeah.
Why are we putting him on contract?
It's a consultancy contract, and I think this is the most efficient way. One of the things, the big cost is associated with benefits.
Right.
And so this is the most efficient way to get the hours without having to pay.
If he's going to work that many hours, he could make
Right.
a claim that he's an employee, and then we're going to have to...
So how much does he make an hour now?
I think it's 20.
I want to say very close to 25.
25, okay.
I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is.
Well, because according to our thing here that we just talked about before, the clerical assistant, it says that he made, $25,000 for the year.
Right.
Right.
So that wouldn't make him make $25 an hour.
Well, he's been working at a 30-hour pace right now because we have him doing the internet, we have him doing the uploading of the videos to the website, and this is over and above what we normally were doing in the office in terms of the parks administration and those kinds of things. So we've added some stuff and have pushed his amount of hours higher, if I can.
Yeah, one other issue is that Dave does have outside work that he does for other clients, and this gives him a little bit more flexibility while at the same time guaranteeing me the support that I need in the office. And it also gives the flexibility for the supervisor to assign a particular project, let's say a Model American Community project or some other project, to Dave with appropriate compensation.
So is this in our budget currently? Because we're talking about going from $25,000 to somewhere between $32,000 and $58,000.
Yes, if you look at the budget, there are three line items. One is the 25 hours that we're talking about. That is in the supervisor's office. That is the supervisor support line, or if you will, the clerical support line that's in the supervisor's office now.
And that's where he's making.
Right. If
how
you look
many
at
dollars,
right,
how much
if you
per
look,
hour does he make now? Is my question.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm terribly sorry.
About.
I'm going to say about $24 an hour, somewhere in that neighborhood,
So he's up there
$23 an hour.
already.
So he's literally right there.
Who put them? How did you go?
The other two line items are, if you look in communications part of the budget, you'll see that we have a website cost in there, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's in there about $7,500 a year. Well, that is the work that Dave does. That's the extra work that he does. As well as, if you look in the project coordinator side of the equation, you'll see that we had, I think it was $60,000 for project coordinators. We're spending much, much less than that. The balance of the hours, the $35 an hour work, if you will come out of the project coordinator side.
Okay, Bishop, so let me get a better handle on this. There are three line items, three budgeted line items.
Yes.
That all hit when this employee is doing work.
Well, no. Right now, all that cost is borne in the supervisor's office.
Okay, let me explain it to me a little bit more simplistic then.
Okay.
Sorry, let me ask you, what's the question?
My question is that Bishop's saying that the work that this employee is doing, current employee, represents three line items.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
And the three line items are?
Well, there's the website,
Right.
and there's the project coordinator.
There's two.
Okay, and then the third is in the supervisor's office. That's all the parks and recreation and clerical administration that Dave has been doing.
Okay. And
Now, as an employee, his entire...
Actually, that's what I'm saying. I think that's where it's confusing. I think when he says line items, I think you're misspeaking. All of these, so the line item is supervisor's office,
Right.
thinking in budget terms.
Right.
But he's got three categories of work. And the three categories of work, my view is, look, Dave's done an absolutely fantastic job for us. And the project coordinators, the African Cemetery work he's done, and the website, if you look at the website for what we inherited to where we've gone, and he's taken on increasingly complex projects. And but his initial role, if you remember when he came in, was effectively an admin role, replacing, basically working with Bishop to coordinate Crawford Park, do all these different things. So it's not really three different items, three categories of work. He's taking on increased responsibility.
all right. So that now, just to piggyback on what Councilwoman Mendocino mentioned,
Yep.
we're looking at a range of $39,000 to $59,000.
Yeah, I think what we budgeted is $36,000
Right.
for the year is what I'm expecting, what I remember discussing with Bishop. So given the number of hours I'm anticipating he worked this year, it'll be coming around 36. It will not exceed 40, that I can guarantee you.
Okay.
That's based
good.
on the number of hours he works. Yeah.
That's good, so I'd like to put that in the resolution, that we're expecting it to be about 36 or 40,000.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Secondly is, once you open this up to a contract, according to procurement policy, anything over $5,000 requires you to go out and get 3 bids.
Consulting
service
contracts are exempt from the bidding process.
Professional services.
Right.
I don't think basic clerical duty qualifies as professional services, or event scheduling qualifies as professional services. I think professional services is being engineer, architect, attorney.
I concur with Councilman Nioris. I think that if this is...
How are you going to go out for a bid?
Well, no. Here's the thing.
I'm sorry, how are you going to go out for a bid?
I think that-
The guy works through, I'm just saying, but
Right, but I understand where Councilman Nioris is coming from, and ultimately it's almost...
no, but sorry,
I'll let you hash it out with Bob.
well, I'm just saying when you go out for a bid,
Dave does great work. I understand that, but we have policies, and policies are meant to be followed.
Well,
And
the
that policy,
professional
right?
service, you don't have to bid professional.
well, I'm saying,
What qualifies as professional
town attorney.
Well, that's a professional service.
We were
I don't think-
criticizing-
What he
no,
does is
I'm
not,
just
it's
gonna-
not something you need to bid.
That's-
You can put out a request for proposals, you can put out a request for qualifications.
Yeah, I think the
Things
distinction,
like that.
I think
You don't have to do it.
the thing, exactly, so I think the distinction, Councilman Nioris, is permanent employee. So we haven't bid out, to follow your logic, we should bid out the town attorney, we should bid out the town accountant, we should bid out the town controller,
No, but those are
those are
appointed
professional
positions.
services.
But the bottom line is there's no requirement to do it. These are effectively permanent staff that we're trying to bring. So you could argue,
Want to read page 15 of our procurement policy?
Right, but then the question is whether he's provided professional services. I agree his admin component of his transaction is not, but I certainly would argue that the technical the computer portion of it is.
No, that's debatable, but
Anyway.
that's scheduling.
You're taking a employee and you're converting him to a contractor to save money. So that doesn't require
Right.
a bidding process.
And I don't even know how you'd bid it. I don't know how you'd bid it.
Well, you would advertise, I guess, the job. Technically,
position.
you would advertise, but I mean, again, there's no requirement that you do that. If the board is satisfied with his work, you can certainly do it this way.
I think, well, certainly we advertised when he first started, right? And so we're in a I guess, sort of an in limbo situation where he, I know when Bishop, you hired him the first time, you interviewed several people.
Absolutely.
Went through a whole list of people and went out to the public and ultimately came up with Dave. Now, since he's been on board, he's just taken on increasing responsibility, done an absolutely terrific job. So certainly, theoretically, conceptually, you can do it. I think with the town attorney's line, there's no absolute legal obligation to do it. What we're trying to avoid, quite frankly, is to having to pay medical benefits because he's now taken on a greater number of hours. And so if he weren't a contract employee, I think ultimately we'd have to pay benefits. Look, I'm open to the suggestions from the board.
Does the government have the same, like I know, like in the hospital, we have per diem employees, and they can work as many number of hours, and they don't have to, they're not charged
Those are
with.
1099s. Yeah.
That's more or less what we're trying to do here.
They're not 1099s.
Well.
They're per diem employees, but they get a paycheck just like these people do, and but they work at their leisure. Like if they don't want, we offer them the work. If they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it.
The category that we have that is called temporary workers, and we do have some of those. For example, our Crawford Park event coordinators are temporary workers. They don't have to take an assignment if they don't want to,
right.
but they're a pool there of people that we can pull from when we need to use them. There's a factor that's missing in this conversation, and that is that Dave Thomas has other clients that he works with. All right, he works with
But we're only talking about what he works.
and he's looking for some flexibility as well. Now, we want to protect the work that's being done right now because we need it done, and he's done a tremendous job at doing that. He's brought our computerization from its infancy to where it is today.
We're just, I don't understand how this is protecting it by making him more flexible, but that was just my question.
The other thing is here, Bishop, don't make the argument that it's only one person that can handle the certain job.
No.
It's like saying that this board falls apart if myself or Michelle leave. Okay, it doesn't happen. Okay, and the same thing happens. If the attorney chooses to leave and we have to get another attorney, it's going to step right in. So our website should be standalone. There shouldn't be any kind of proprietary information on there. That the mechanism in the back, anybody should be able to do it that has that technical capability. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anything that's happening here is not dependent on one person.
Yeah, I think I think there's a couple of points. I'm certainly will defer to the board on this point. If they want to take a different approach, it's fine. For me, Bishop runs the supervisor's office effectively. And, what I like to do is our department has to take responsibility. And ultimately, Mr. Nowotnik, when Dave came in, interviewed several different people and made the conclusion that Mr. Thomas was by far and away the best employee for him. Mr. Nowotnik has put forward Mr. Thomas is somebody he'd like to continue to work with for all the reasons we've talked. So I think it's really a question. The town attorney has told us we don't need to legally do this, so we can take a legal technical approach. If that's the approach the board wants to take, I'm perfectly happy to do that. But what you're really telling Mr. Nowotny's got to go out and interview a whole bunch of people. At the end of the day, he's then going to choose the person he wants anyway, and I presume he'd end up with Mr. Thomas. So I think it's sort of...
I'd be happy to continue with Mr. Thomas, but as long as we put in here that whatever the budget amount is for those services, which I think someone said $30,000.
Not to exceed 36.
I'd be happy with that.
Okay, perfect.
The resolution be amended to reflect that his compensation will not exceed
$36,000.
$36,000?
Yes.
Whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
36 is good.
So then you can approve it as amended.
Great. Can I get a motion to approve this contract as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
In the
Okay,
future, just want to make sure, we've had this discussion in the past, if we're going into resolutions like this and we're